So we have different types of friends from school, from college days, and we are able to get along so well with most of them, having different attitudes. But with our own relatives in the family, we are not able to get along as easily. What is the secret? What is the purpose?
With friends, you have a choice. With relatives, you have no choice. So you didn't choose your relatives. You happen to be their relatives. With friends, you choose. Ye chahiye, ye nahi chahiye. So the whole subject is there that you have chosen your friends, but you didn't have the option of choosing your relatives. The other reason why we don't get along with relatives is we are with them most of the time, and we are with them when the guard is down.
Yeah.
Both of us, the guard is down. With friends, we are there for lesser period of time, and most of the time we are only close friends, we are not having our guard up, but with other friends we have our guard up, and we are careful what we speak and what we don't speak. We are bothered about hurting them. We are looking forward to their appreciation. We are looking forward to their concurrence, all those things. With relatives, our guard is down. We are not even conscious of how the relative is reacting to us. So, there are many things that our relative may not like about us, and we are least bothered about that. There are many things which friends don't like about us, but they tolerate us.
Yes, that's an important.
Because they value something in us which they want and they cherish, and they want to enjoy that for a longer duration. That's why friends gel. Relatives have an objective. They have an objective from you. You are a source of something which they need from. So they look up to you to fulfill that need, and when that need is not fulfilled, then obviously there is some attrition, there is some disagreement, there is some disillusionment, and there is some antagonism, and there is strife.
So is it expectation that?
Always. Expectation is always the key to disappointment. Because when expectation is not fulfilled, there is an obvious disappointment. And then with relatives, you take a lot of things for granted.
Yes.
With friends,
Yes.
unless the friendship is a long-standing friendship, like you said, school friends, then you start taking friends also for granted. Friends meet, and you don't even greet.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't even say hi.
Yeah.
You start with whatever is uppermost in your mind, and the conversation starts, and neither is offended.
Correct.
He is also not offended that you did not greet.
Yes.
You don't have to be formal with a friend. The same thing applies with a relative, but with a relative, the subject is the relative constantly compares your behavior with the outside world versus your behavior with the inside world. And let's admit it, these two behaviors do not match.
Yes.
We are different with the outside people, and we are different with the people with whom we are living.
Yes.
So that difference is noticed starkly by people who know you intimately.
Yeah.
Or are expected to know you intimately. Expectation is that this guy can talk sweetly with the outside people. Why doesn't he talk sweetly with me?
Yes.
Or whenever I have a conversation, it's always a dog bark, and outside he's a very soft meow.
So your moods are also different with friends and with relatives.
Naturally. See, why do we become friends? If you look at it from the vibrations point of view, who gels? Whose vibrations match with yours? And this is a language which is not understood. We are not even conscious at what frequency you are vibrating, at what frequency I am vibrating. So if I get along with you, it purely means that our biological vibrations are matching, and therefore we get along. With some people, the vibrations don't match, And even if you don't know the person, you don't like to be in the presence of that person.
Yeah.
This is a pure language of vibrations. So friends happen because we vibed. That's the word which we
Yes,
use now.
yes.
We vibed well.
Yes.
That means the vibrations matched.
Yeah.
And because the vibrations matched, we associated.
Yes.
Now sometimes you will see, in school you are thick buddies.
Yeah.
And as you grow up, you start drifting apart. With some friends at least.
Yes.
With some friends, the friendship continues.
Yeah.
The vibration changed.
Yeah.
What causes the change in the vibration? The environment, the response to the environment. Now, when I start responding to the environment, I start melding or blending with the vibrations of the environment in which I am getting influenced. So let's take a political affiliation. So you and I are friends. When we were in school, we were absolutely apolitical. As we grew up and went into college, we were probably still apolitical. But as we matured, we started having, at least one person started having political affiliations, the other person was still indifferent. My political affiliations altered my vibrations, and now my vibrations are not matching with yours as nicely as they were matching
before.
when we were in school and college.
Yes.
And then the drift starts happening.
Yeah.
Now there is no antagonism, there is no quarrel, there is no disagreement, but the vibrations simply don't match, and then probably you found somebody more comfortable, and I found somebody more attractive, and naturally the drift started.
So can we say that if we look at relatives as friends, will the relationships become different?
We can look at relatives as friends intellectually. Emotionally, what will happen? If your emotions are not in sync with the emotions of the relative, if your vibrations are not in sync with the vibrations of the relative, intentions may be good. You might want a good relationship, but it will not happen. It will not happen.
Yeah.
And you will see that happening between parents and children. You can see it happening between siblings. You can see it happening between spouses. So sometimes intellectually you know that this relation should work, but practically it doesn't work.
Now with friends, whatever they say, you don't mind. With relatives, anything that is, say, which is not in line with your thought or with your liking, you react.
See, this is very simple actually, and I normally talk about train travel.
Yeah.
And you will see a lot of quarrels happening in the train, especially Mumbai trains, which are extremely crowded.
Yeah.
So somebody will start by saying, "Seedha khada rahe, dhakka kyun marte?"
Yeah.
Yeah. In a train, there is jostling, there is pushing, there is shoving, and somebody gets inconvenienced, and probably at that point of time he is in an irritable mood.
Yeah.
And he reacts by saying, "Dhakka kyun marte?" Now imagine the person standing next to him is his brother or father, and the same dhakka happens.
Correct.
Will he say, "Dhakka kyun marte?"
So
No.
Yeah.
So with friends it is like that. Friend ने धक्का भी मारा तो भी कोई problem नहीं,
Yeah.
because the vibes are excellent. And relative ने touch भी किया तो भी irritate होता है, because the vibes are antagonistic.
I was actually trying to relate this to what they say at the time of marriage. May both of you live life as friends.
I wish that was true, and probably that's the basis of love marriage, because I'm not talking of love at first sight, I'm talking of love which buds after association.
Yeah.
So the association happened because of friendship,
Yeah.
and then it got translated into love, and then it got translated into marriage. As long as it was friendship, it was harmonious. As long as it was love, it was magnetic. But when it became marriage, the South Pole and North Pole turned, and the North Pole and North Pole came together, which was not happening when you were friends and lovers. You were seeking the opposite pole for the attraction to happen. But when the marriage happens, it is inevitable that at some point of time, the north will face the north and south will face the south, and the repulsion happens. Now, if this north, south is happening more often, the repulsion is more often. And when it repeatedly happens, then the repulsion gets endorsed and becomes permanent.
So, if we look at friends, the relatives as friends, possibly the intensity of the drifting possibly can come down. It's a difficult proposition, but
it's not difficult if you understand this subject spiritual.
Yeah.
Because that's something which we have not touched in this conversation so far. Why did you become a relative? The same question can be asked, why did you become a friend?
Correct.
You became a friend by choice. You didn't become a relative by choice.
Correct.
At least not the choice of this existence.
Yes.
Yeah, you were born in a particular family. You had a particular set of parents, brothers and sisters. So you had no choice in selecting your relatives. As a human, as a spiritual being, you were born in a particular set of circumstances with a particular set of people because of your karmic deeds.
True. Yeah.
And karmic deeds have two components. One component is your desire, and the second component is your debit credit balances. And again, this subject goes into different lifetimes, those who believe in different lifetimes. So suppose you and I associated in a past life where there was a give and take association between us in whatever form. It could be commercial, it could be emotional, it could be intellectual. You were a teacher, I was a student, something like that. So in that dealing between two entities, there is always an imbalance because we don't measure. For example, you are the teacher, I am the student, you gave me some knowledge and I paid you some fees. Have we equated it? Maybe in human terms, yes, because you demanded a certain amount of fees and I willingly paid you that fee. So in human terms, yes, but in spiritual terms, the amount of knowledge you imparted to me was far more than the compensation I did to you. So there is an imbalance created in this relationship. Now we meet again in a different lifetime. So that imbalance has to be neutralized. That's the law of the universe. There should be no imbalances. So we associate again, maybe as relatives, because the amount you gave me was so huge that the only way I could compensate is by being closely associated with you. Therefore, I was born your relative. Now, here is one person who is born as your relative who is constantly serving you. Maybe you are a sick person and I am constantly taking care of you. Or maybe you are a demanding person and I am constantly meeting your demands. So here is a relationship which happened by birth, where one fellow happens to be a giver simply because he was a taker in his past association in a hugely disproportionate manner.
So if we understand this well, possibly these differences will be reduced.
The only understanding anybody needs in this case is acceptance. That you have to accept why you were born with a particular set of relatives.
True.
Once you accept that, then all the disparities, all the disagreements, all the disillusionment goes into the background. This is it. This is my scripture. I have scripted this. I have scripted you in my life as my father, mother, brother, sister, whoever it is. It is my script. I deserved you. I have to accept it. Once that happens, then there is peace and harmony. That acceptance is not there. We don't accept our relatives. I want my son to do something else which he doesn't want to do. I want my daughter to behave in a particular manner in which she doesn't want to behave. I want my wife to do something which is not her nature. I have to understand that each individual entity is thumbprint, separate, cannot match my thumbprint. I have to learn to accept this difference, then relatives and relationships will work.